should be abolished or severely changed. When you see what they do, it's kind of ridiculous. But the main point is that the change to the law that we're proposing protects not only the immigrant community, but the rest of us. They are very simple changes. That's it. Thank you for your time. Give me a voice. Thank you very much. Next speaker. Come on.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Who here is an immigrant? Raise your hand. Who here is a child of an immigrant? Who here is a grandchild of an immigrant?
On that too.
Thank you. My name is Janice Lee, and I was born in Hong Kong in 1987. What I want you to all know and see and feel is that we, immigrants, are here to stay. This question of immigration is an existential question of what kind of city San Francisco is and what kind of country the United States is. Are we going to be a city that attacks its own? Our politics, look around this room, is already cannibalistic enough. We don't need to do it even more. Rejecting Alioto's ballot measure will be a statement to her and to Trump's rhetoric that he so closely mimics and scares the heck out of me. This is my first time that I've ever come to a DCCC meeting, and I still have to say I've never felt safe coming here, and I still don't even really feel safe standing here right now. But I know that silence is consent, and as an immigrant, and as a San Francisco resident, and as a member of the Democratic Party, I will not remain silent and complicit to the racist and xenophobic world Ms. Alioto so eagerly is leading us towards. Thank you.
Legal for Rio, Carlos Bocanegra.
Good evening, my name is Miss Joy.
You don't need a lecture.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Quiet.
Don't talk to me like that.
If we can have order, please. Everyone has an opportunity to speak. If we can respect the speakers.
You gotta respect people.
Go ahead. Can we reset the time, please? Thank you.
Hey.
The time has been reset.
My name is Denise Dory.
You can speak into the mic, please.
Hi, my name is Denise Dory, and I'm president of the Central City Democrats and a member of AxisOfLove and Harlem Milk Club. And we all those clubs stand for sanctuary city policies, as it is, and we thank Carlos for his work with sanctuary city policy.
No, I mean, you're covering.
My land is from Norway, escaped German aggression in the First World War, and came to work on farms in Chicago. So, if Democrats want to keep winning elections, we can't be sounding like a party of intolerance. And we can't hijack the progressive dialogue, which happens all too often with a lot of issues, and this is a big one. And so the meaning of liberalism is a political and moral philosophy based on liberty, equity, and civil rights, and strength and diversity. So we say that the Central City Democrats, the Harlem Milk Club, and AxisOfLove, we say no ban, no wall, and no gang injunctions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, and we see Susan Inglewood. Glad to see you standing and out of the hospital.
And I hope you're going to encourage me tonight. And before I realized this as I was walking to the mic, one of the most diverse DCCCs, that I have ever seen. This is wonderful. And the DCCC, should represent all of the elements in our community. I really am feeling like, with the sanctuary city, we went 2 steps forward, and it feels like this must be the 1 step back. It's really good news to even be considering this measure that is not even a wolf in sheep's clothing. It is so bold and flagrant. it waffles on one of our principal issues of this city that we have nurtured for the past 50 years, because really, the last 50 years has been a game changer for us as an immigrant community. We have been both an immigrant city and an anti-immigrant city, and that those histories track each other. And this resolution that will go on the ballot, that may go on the ballot, is just a foot in the door to many other abuses on various communities that are vulnerable in the city, just like sit line, just like care not cash. The criminalization of immigrants creates a label that follows those folks forever. It is not enough to just oppose this measure, and I applaud you for Resolution 10. We must oppose this nativist and poisonous measure and keep San Francisco, San Francisco. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Gilbert Canelo. That's a British and a Spanish surname. I don't identify with either. I identify as a Native American. I'm an Apache. My tribe didn't sign any treaties with the U.S. government or the right now, or to the U.S. government. So therefore, we're not recognized. Our tribe is not recognized as a Native American tribe. So this has been going on long before Trump. All right, my dad, he came from Spain 50 years after Columbus. They settled and founded Corpus Christi and San Antonio. Okay? So anyway, I'm for immigrants because we're all immigrants. My ancestors from my mother's side been here for thousands of years. My cousins live in Northern California. They're a different tribe. You'll find Apaches all throughout the prairie, through the southwest, some even migrated down to Mexico. There's a tribe that lives on the border that migrates both ways. In the Rio Grande, they have dual citizenship because that's what they have. Their land ended up being on both sides of the border, on Mexico and the United States. The river also changed all the time. But anyway, we're all immigrants and we need to respect each other as human beings. We're all on this earth together. Now, if I have enough time, I'll share some information that I received. Donald J. Trump already tried to launch the nuke. General Maddox stopped him. You know, the general that was fired because Trump didn't want people telling him what to do. Well, anyway, General Maddox going, no, you cannot launch the missiles against China and North Korea because the radiation, even if they don't fire back, you know, John Bolton says, you know, he thinks that we hit them hard enough that they will respond.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, you won't be able to hear the rest of the story.
I want to hear the rest of the story.
Thank you, Gilbert. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Brad Jacob. I'm on the board of the Harveyville Democratic Club, and I also live with Harry Britt. I take care of him. He's not doing very well, so I asked you to, you know, don't keep him in your prayers because he's neighbors, but Harry goes back with Angela. They were on the board together. And Angela, I wish I could defend you right now. And I'm really, really disappointed. And the reality is that a lot of people, I feel like, aren't talking about the facts and how they're being muddied. So this isn't a conversation about protecting immigrants or protecting citizens. This is a conversation about making sure that immigrants are punished harsher than non-immigrants for the same crimes. And the current sanctuary city policy actually already does that. If someone is arrested for certain crimes, they can be turned over to ICE. But suspected criminals, and what I read, a police officer can suspect, or someone can suspect that someone's a criminal, a violent criminal, and they can be treated differently. That's not okay. thing I appreciate about Harry is that he's really intelligent, and I think that if he was working with you right now, he would have been able to convince you, like he did a lot of other things, that this is ridiculous, and it's an attention stunt, it's not worth it. It's not okay to divide communities in San Francisco. The good thing here is usually we're just talking about real estate versus... Sorry. We are usually divided by real estate interests and money corrupting the Democratic Party versus who are pro-gay and supposedly pro people of color versus progressive groups that can still do better. But we don't. There's no reason to introduce Trumpian bullshit.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm going to read a couple more names. Diane, Cameron, Edwin, Ramona Cruz. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good evening, Triple C. I want to thank all of you for your service and make this, let's get to the point. I feel like it's pretty obvious.
If we can, hold on, please. We can stop the clock. We can stop the side conversations just because we need to be respectful of the public members who are speaking, just like we were respectful when you spoke. So if you can please do that. If we can please stop the side conversations. If we can reset the time, please, so that we can give this gentleman his time. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Chair Council. So it's actually what I wanted to address is that I feel like right now is the time for us to really set the example, to create thought-provoking discourse and not operate from a place of fear as a carrot. I really think that it's pretty obvious right now, there's so much tension in here. I think that we need to focus on having open discussions that are fearless and that are productive, because at the end of the day, all of us are Democrats. Now, more than ever, we need to set the example that we can go high, that we stick to the issues, and that we do not make any of our disagreements and our internal friction personal. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Laura Muniz. I'm a board member of the Borough Heights Democratic Club and a proud member of the San Francisco Latino Democratic Club. We are living in scary times. The current man in the White House is doing everything he can to strip us of our rights.
Yeah.
As a naturalized citizen, today, there's 20 million of us. We're under investigation right now. These are super scary times. We can't afford to change our sanctuary law. We need to stand strong. Our current sanctuary city ordinance does not protect or shield violent felons. The changes to the ordinance grants due process, which is a constitutional right for all, regardless of their immigration status. Let's stand strong. Let's protect our sanctuary city. Let's stand with our immigrants. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
My name is Tammy Bryan. I'm a member of Latino Democratic Club, and I'm here to speak. I'm the great-granddaughter of Jewish immigrants, but I'm here to speak to oppose the ballot measure and the changes that are being proposed. I want to remind this body, and especially the author, that this has real consequences for real people. And though I don't do stuff that's about me, I'm going to make it about me for a minute, like for my own daughter, and how worried I am right now. She got news that her grandmother is sick in El Salvador, and now she's going to head there to visit her. And I am petrified, and I am distraught, because it is incredibly dangerous down there for her. And so these are the consequences of our U.S. policy and our deportation policy. Let's remember that it was this government and these U.S. corporations that are responsible for the violence that people are fleeing. This is not in a vacuum. This is our responsibility that people came here in the first place. Let's remember, in the 80s, people were fleeing U.S.-sponsored poverty and war. And so that's what brought a wave of folks here. Now, some of them, they have their children, and while the parents were struggling and working many jobs just to survive, those children did get into trouble. but they were criminalized, they were trained to be truly dangerous criminals, and then we would deport them. So rather than rehabilitate them, and we know from, as was mentioned before, groups like Holy, United Players, and Brothers Against Guns, that people can be incarcerated and can be rehabilitated, and that's what should have been our focus. So the whole criminalization of people is our government's fault. We broke it. We need to fix it. And I'm also extremely concerned when there are posts on Facebook that end up putting somebody's life in jeopardy. And I think people have to be more mindful of what they do and what they say. There's real life consequences. I'm here supporting David Campos, and I'm very, very upset that he was being threatened because of these posts. And I think people need to take more responsibility. Thank you.
Can you lift that mic and speak into it, please? Someone can help. Speak into it, please.
I want to thank you for your service on the DCCC, and I also want to thank Angela for your love of true sanctuary for immigrants and for all of us. So first thing I would ask for all of us as Democrats is to read the ordinance. Number one, and it's the title of the ordinance. Read the ordinance and not just listen to a bunch of rhetoric. I mean, I can stand up here and put my earphones and learn as much as listening to people, because a lot of rhetoric. I don't mind talking to anybody about the issue and having a conversation, but I'm sick of hearing the rhetoric. So anyway, the title of it is Violent Felons Reporting Act. It applies only to felons convicted, violent felons convicted of rape, murder, and mayhem. There are about 800 or 797 other felons that are exempted from the Sanctuary City ordinance, so they can still be the felons and stay there. But anyway, it's a common sense thing that we can do. And compared to the state's sanctuary city, which has, there's 35 felons that are exempt. We have 800. Anyway, I urge you to read and support. Vote yes to report violent felons in sanctuary. Be pro-immigrant and be pro-true sanctuary and safety.
Thank you. Next speaker. Next speaker, please. I'm going to read a couple more names. Nathaniel Owen, Catalina Morales.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lila Carrillo. I am the president of the Latino Democratic Club. And I am very excited that we are very well represented here by both members of the Latino Democratic Club and true allies to the immigrant community. I'm going to state a bit of the obvious, which is that hate, ignorance here is contagious. I stand here against, obviously, the poking holes in our current sanctuary city ordinance. This is not about, I do not believe that this is about violent crimes. This is scapegoating at its best. This is monetizing scapegoating and politicizing scapegoating at its best. We cannot take the national rhetoric that has been rampant since the beginning, calling specifically Mexicans rapists and murderers, and take that lightly and say that somehow this does not mimic that or it doesn't piggyback on that. I am an immigrant myself. I am the daughter of an immigrant. We were not always immigrants. This land was stolen. So you cannot all of a sudden purport to say that you stand here with us, that you recognize history, and you should recognize history, and call yourself progressive or call yourself Democrat when you are singling out an already vulnerable community. So I appreciate and I thank very much the leadership in this room who has stood behind those who are being targeted, behind the vulnerable communities, and to really provide the sanctuary that we need. One case, two cases do not validate going after an entire community and an entire population.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. Next speaker.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Carlos Bocanegra, and I work for Mission Neighborhood Centers, and I've come today simply to speak and acknowledge that we're living under an administration of bigotry. We're living under an administration of ignorance. We're living under an administration of division. We live under an administration that seeks to utilize and instill fear as a vehicle to carry out their own selfish and self-centered agenda. So the question becomes, how should we respond to such tactics, to such fear? Well, I don't have the time to give you my whole answer. I do have enough time to say that our response to fear should not be met with more fear. Our response to fear should not be to persecute marginalized communities, especially communities already struggling to keep their housing, feed their children, and provide them with the opportunities they only used to dream about. Our response to fear should be to protect first those in our community most vulnerable under the age of Trump. Our response to fear should be courage. To find the courage within ourselves, to support and empower the courage that in each other, and to stand united in support of our communities. To stand united to support our immigrant brothers and sisters. To stand united and protect the sanctuary laws that we currently have, and not the ones that would seek to diminish the communities that are the fabric of San Francisco as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Edwin Carmona Cruz. I'm here with the Free SF Coalition, the coalition that was responsible for the due process in 2013 and the updated version in 2016. So at the time where the Abolish ICE movement has gained traction, a movement that was spearheaded by the undocumented community and that all of you are talking about now, is a movement that focuses on the horrendous detention conditions that these immigrants are subjected to. A movement that promotes the end of the inhumane treatment of our neighbors and calls for the end of family separations. That we have come here and addressed this anti-sanctuary measure that feeds directly into this deportation machine. I'm going to talk to you today about Sonia. And again, this rhetoric that folks are talking about, we often forget the humanization of the people who are affected by this. So Sonia is a Delhi resident, a single mother of 4. She, at 14, was then, by her father, arranged a marriage with an older man. And she endured over 20 years of domestic violence and sexual assault by her husband, her brother-in-law, and other men in her life. But Sonia, because she didn't have support or family in the United States, she was then charged with 2 misdemeanor DUIs. She reported to court and jail something voluntary. She served 2 weeks, and criminal justice system said, you know what, you're not a danger to society, you need help, you need treatment, and they let her go. And then, ICE picked her up immediately. This was before the implementation of SB 54. And this was the California Values Act. This administration, ICE and its anti-sanctuary proposition is making survivors like Sonia pay double time in cages for the trauma that has been imposed on their lives for over 20 years. ICE is not just separating families at the border. ICE and the xenophobic legislation is separating families here in our city. And this needs to end. So I urge this body to stand up and put a stop to it.
Thank you very much. I'm going to read a couple more names. Rita Davila, Bolan Visual, Kitsia Stella, Susan Arco, Gabriela Lopez. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jackie Miller, and I've been a resident in San Francisco since 1991, and I'm here today to support the ordinance that Angela Alioto is proposing. I really want to call attention to something that seems to be being overlooked, and that is, what about the rights of the victims? What about the peace of mind and a sense of security and a sense of being protected by our beautiful city of San Francisco? I don't know if there's anyone in this room that has ever experienced the horrible, horrible act of rape and being raped. But so I just want to say that I myself am a victim of rape, and rapists don't stop raping. Rapists tend to rape again and again and again. So the sense of terror and trauma that's being imposed on people in our community that have been the victims of rape is really not fair here either. So I think that we could come to a very good, peaceful, harmonious resolution by doing something that helps the victims and protects them and the families, as well as our wonderful immigrants. And this is not a thing against immigrants. It's simply about protecting people in our community. Thank you.